Have you ever wondered why you keep getting in your own way? You know what you should do. You know the habits you need. You know the goals that matter. And yet, you still don't do them. So you blame yourself. You call yourself lazy, undisciplined, unmotivated. Maybe you've even told yourself, I guess I'm just not the kind of person who succeeds. But what if that's completely wrong? What if the biggest thing standing between you and the life you want isn't your lack of willpower? What if it's your brain? Not because it's broken, not because it's weak, but because it's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Your brain has one job, and success isn't it. Its first priority isn't making you rich, or productive, or disciplined. Its first priority is something much older, keeping you alive. That sounds strange, because you're probably thinking, I'm not trying to survive. I'm just trying to finish my work. But your brain doesn't always know the difference. The human brain was built over millions of years, long before schools, long before careers, long before smartphones. Back then, every decision could mean life or death. Walking into an unfamiliar place was dangerous. Trying something new could get you killed. Wasting energy could leave you too weak to survive. Your ancestors weren't rewarded for chasing big dreams. They were rewarded for staying alive. And every generation passed that survival system to the next, including you. The world changed. Your brain didn't. Today, you're not running away from wild animals. You're answering emails, studying for exams, building a business, going to the gym, learning new skills, completely different problems, but you're solving them with a brain that still follows ancient rules. That's where the conflict begins, because almost everything that leads to success feels uncomfortable at first. Waking up early, working out, studying, starting a business, having difficult conversations, taking risks. Your brain sees every one of those things the same way, as uncertainty. And uncertainty has always meant one thing: potential danger. Not because those things are actually dangerous, but because your brain prefers what it already knows. It likes familiar places, familiar routines, familiar people, familiar outcomes, even when they're making you miserable. That's why people stay in jobs they hate. That's why relationships sometimes last long after they're over. That's why dreams stay dreams. Comfort feels safe, and safety feels good. The strange part is, your brain doesn't care whether you're happy. It cares whether you're alive. Those are not the same thing. Think about the last time you wanted to start something important. Maybe you were about to open your laptop, write that first page, send that application, record that video. What happened? Maybe you suddenly remembered you needed coffee. Maybe your room looked messy. Maybe checking your phone for 1 minute seemed like a good idea. Then 1 minute became 20. 20 became an hour, and somehow the day disappeared. That wasn't an accident. Your brain found an easier path. Because easy saves energy. And your brain loves saving energy. It has always loved saving energy. Thousands of years ago, energy was survival. Food wasn't guaranteed. Every unnecessary movement mattered. So your brain evolved to become incredibly efficient. Whenever it finds a shortcut, it takes it. That's still happening today. Only now. The shortcut isn't avoiding a dangerous mountain. It's scrolling through social media instead of doing deep work. It's watching another episode instead of going to sleep. It's choosing immediate comfort over long-term progress. Not because you're weak, because your brain is efficient. The problem is, efficiency and success aren't always the same thing. Success usually asks you to do the harder thing first. Your brain asks you to do the easier thing now. And every single day, those two voices compete. One wants growth. The other wants safety. One thinks about tomorrow. The other only cares about right now. That's why discipline feels difficult. You're not fighting time. You're not fighting your schedule. You're fighting millions of years of programming. And there's another player in this story, one that's quietly shaping your decisions every single day. It's called dopamine. You've probably heard that word before. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. That's only part of the story. Dopamine isn't really about pleasure. It's about anticipation. It's the feeling that says, something rewarding might happen. Imagine hearing your phone buzz. Before you even see the screen, your brain releases a small amount of dopamine, not because you already got something good, but because you might. That's enough to make your hand reach for the phone. Again, and again, and again. Social media understands this perfectly. Every swipe could reveal something funny, something exciting, something surprising. Your brain loves uncertainty when it comes with possible rewards. It's like pulling the lever on a slot machine. Most of the time, nothing special happens, but every once in a while, something interesting appears, and that tiny possibility keeps you coming back. Not because you're addicted to your phone, but because your brain learned a pattern. Check, reward, repeat. Over time, that loop becomes automatic. You stop making conscious choices. Your brain starts making them for you. That's the power of a habit. A habit is simply a behavior your brain has repeated so many times that it no longer wants to spend energy thinking about it. Habits are your brain's way of saving effort, which sounds helpful, and sometimes it is. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth, or tying your shoes, or locking your front door. Your brain handles those things in the background, but the exact same system can also automate behaviors that slowly hold you back, reaching for your phone, delaying difficult work, avoiding uncomfortable conversations, saying, "I'll start tomorrow," without even realizing it. Without even realizing it, your brain isn't asking, "What's best for my future?" It's asking, "What's the easiest thing I can do right now?" And that's an important difference, because if you believe success is just about motivation, you'll spend your life waiting to feel ready. The truth is, motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you'll have it. Most mornings you won't. That's normal. No one wakes up every day feeling inspired. Not athletes, not entrepreneurs, not artists, not the people you admire most. They don't move because they feel motivated. They move because they've built systems that work even when motivation disappears. Think about brushing your teeth. You probably don't wake up excited to do it. You don't wait until you're inspired. You simply do it. Not because of willpower, because it's automatic. That's exactly how successful habits are built. Not with stronger motivation, with less decision making. Every decision costs mental energy. Psychologists often call this decision fatigue. It's a simple idea. The more choices you make during the day, the harder it becomes to make good ones later. That's why small decisions matter more than they seem. What should I wear? What should I eat? When should I start? What should I work on first? One decision, then another, until your brain starts looking for the easiest escape. And that's usually your phone, or YouTube, or Netflix, or anything that asks nothing from you. Notice something. Your brain isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to reduce effort, because reducing effort used to increase your chances of survival. Again, an ancient solution in a modern world. This is why people often fail after relying on willpower alone. Willpower is like holding a heavy door shut. For a while, you can keep it closed, but eventually, you get tired. The door opens. Systems work differently. They remove the door completely. Instead of forcing yourself to ignore your phone, put it in another room. Instead of hoping you'll wake up early, prepare everything the night before. Instead of telling yourself to work for 3 hours, tell yourself to work for 5 minutes. 5 minutes sounds too small to matter, but your brain doesn't resist small actions. It resists big ones, because big actions feel uncertain, and uncertainty still feels dangerous. This is where most people make a mistake. They think success comes from doing something extraordinary. It usually doesn't. It comes from making the next action feel easy enough to begin. Starting changes everything, because action creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence, and confidence creates consistency, not the other way around. Most people wait until they feel confident before they act. Successful people act until they become confident. There's another reason your brain loves staying where it is. Predictability. Imagine walking into a completely dark room. You move carefully. Every step feels uncertain. Now imagine walking through your own bedroom. Even with the lights off, you know exactly where everything is. Your brain loves that feeling. It loves knowing what comes next. That's why change feels uncomfortable. Even positive change. A new job, a new city, a healthier lifestyle. a better routine. Your logical mind says, this is good for me. But another part of your brain quietly whispers, this is unfamiliar, and unfamiliar still feels risky. That doesn't mean you should stop. It means discomfort isn't always a warning. Sometimes it's evidence that you're growing. The challenge is learning to tell the difference. Pain that protects you and discomfort that transforms you. One keeps you alive. The other helps you evolve. Most people confuse the two. They interpret every uncomfortable feeling as a sign to quit. But think about learning to ride a bike. It felt awkward. Learning a new language. Awkward. Speaking in public. Awkward. Going to the gym for the first time. Awkward. Everything valuable begins with discomfort. Not because suffering is the goal. Because growth always introduces something unfamiliar. And unfamiliar always catches your brain's attention. The goal isn't to eliminate discomfort. The goal is to stop treating it like an emergency. The next time you feel resistance, pause for a second. Ask yourself one question. Is this actually dangerous? Or is it simply unfamiliar? That single question can change the direction of your day. Maybe even your life. Because once you understand what your brain is doing, you stop taking every feeling as the truth. You begin observing it instead. I don't feel like working. Interesting. My brain wants comfort. I don't feel like exercising. Interesting. My brain wants to save energy. I'm afraid of failing. Interesting. My brain is trying to avoid uncertainty. Notice the difference. You're no longer your emotions. You're watching them. That small shift gives you something incredibly powerful. Choice. Your brain creates impulses. You decide what to do with them. And the more often you make that choice, the easier it becomes. Not because your brain changes overnight, because you're teaching it a new pattern. Every time you choose the harder but meaningful action, you're sending your brain a message. This is safe. Every workout. This is safe. Every difficult conversation. This is safe. Every hour of focused work. This is safe. Little by little, your comfort zone begins to expand. Not all at once. Slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. Until one day, the things that once felt impossible start feeling normal. That's how transformation really happens. Not through one dramatic decision, but through hundreds of ordinary ones. Success isn't built in a single moment. It's built in moments that don't look important. One page, one workout, one conversation, one early morning, one choice to begin instead of waiting. People often ask, what's the secret to becoming more disciplined? Maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe the better question is, how can I make the right choice easier than the wrong one? Because your environment shapes your behavior more than your intentions do. Change your environment. And your habits begin to change. Change your habits. And your identity begins to change. Eventually, you stop saying, I'm trying to become disciplined. You simply become someone who does disciplined things. That's a completely different life. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, why am I like this? Remember something. Your brain isn't your enemy. It's an ancient survival machine, trying to protect you with rules that were written for a world that no longer exists. Its job is to keep you comfortable. Your job is to decide whether comfort is worth trading for the life you truly want. Because success was never about defeating your brain. It was about understanding it, working with it, training it, one small decision at a time. And maybe the voice that's been holding you back all these years was never saying, you can't. It was only asking, are you sure it's safe? Now you know the answer. Yes, it is. And the life you've been waiting for starts with the next decision you make.